Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis here. The donations have been completed, Stage 7 is done, a tease of what is to come in Season of the Worthy, now confirmed by Bungie, and Trials, 3v3 elimination, returns next season. Lots to discuss here, lots happened in the last couple of hours, so let's break it all down so you guys know what's coming next. Alright, so as you guys can see in the tower, the Empyrean restoration is complete. All 7 stages of the tower here for the icon, the nice little glows, have been finished. If I pull up my map, you guys also notice the destination in Crucible will show the Lighthouse is here. And it's very clear what it states. Only true champions dare set foot in these newly constructed halls. Now what happened when you went up to the tower? Obelisk is there was a small quest. You go ahead and light the beacon and you're sent into a cinematic, so let me show you that real quick. So that cinematic basically shows that we took our lantern from Osiris, finished building the Empyrean restoration, and we lit the beacon that is going to be calling Guardians from, I guess, everywhere, back, I guess, to the solar system, or calling new Guardians, or whatever it may be that we're doing, into this whole thing that we got going on. So, we called the beacons, we've got that going on, and then Bungie tweeted out that the Stage 7 was complete, and underneath that they had a little link. And it was a YouTube video, and the description basically stated, Season of the Worthy, Trials returns, 3v3 elimination, and they do a little bit of a developer insight about Trials. So what I'm going to do is put this in the video now so you guys can listen to the full description, and then I'm going to go through and break down a couple of very specific frames, a couple clips so we can talk about a couple things, and then we'll talk about a few things afterwards, some that have been tweeted about already, so you guys are aware of how this is all going to work and what Trials is if you don't know and you're new. So here we go.
The time before House of Wolves, these 2 friends who I play games with all the time, you know, and so I knew this 3v3 thing was coming, and so my two like buddies and I, we would play 3s for hours every night. And I didn't tell them what we were doing, you know, because you kind of want your friends to experience it the way that players are going to. But I was like, oh, we're doing this thing. In my head, I'm like, we're doing this thing, so I want to like get the communication down, get used to playing with everyone. And we played for hours and hours and hours of 3s back in the day. And then Trials came out, and Trials was our Friday night. Every week, Trials, you know, we played. But it was this time where you're like, oh, I have this thing to look forward to. I have this thing to look forward to every week. This like sweaty, stressful, high stakes activity. And right now, we are missing that. And I know we're missing it. I know we are missing it. We are going to fix it.
Trials is back, and it's pretty insane.
Super!
When we knew that Trials was coming back, the most important thing from us was to do it right. And so that means it's taken us a little while. Every single life, every single round, every single match means something in Trials, whether you win or lose.
Fight, win, fight again. This is your duty.
When you've got the best players in an arena and it's power enabled, the stakes are incredibly high.
It is a legitimate, difficult thing to be good at.
With the reintroduction of Trials of Osiris, we are really taking a look at our whole sandbox and saying, like, okay, what is the right balance of things?
We want to make sure that we really stick the landing with Trials. It's important that this doesn't go out half-baked.
We are in the playtest lab every day playing Trials, trying to get it just right. We've been working to balance the abilities, the subclasses, the weapons, the armor, to make sure it is as fun and as fair as possible. We've done a lot because it's important.
We're bringing back some amazing maps from Destiny 1, some of my favorites personally. CAULDRON, Exodus Blue, and Anomaly. Some of the coolest armor and weapons from Destiny 1, in my opinion, were the Trials' original gear set, and that's coming back. And when players go flawless, those armor pieces and weapons will react in a certain way. When you see someone in the tower,
Everybody's gonna know.
everyone's gonna know that they went flawless that week.
It's just so cool to have like a pinnacle PvP activity return.
We're hearing it from the players, we feel it ourselves, and I can't wait to bring back a version of Trials that matches what we remember from back in Destiny 1.
Go. You make me proud.
So, I'm going to go through a couple screenshots mainly here and talk about a couple of things that we heard throughout the trailer. First is this shot, so you guys can see a decent view of one. Got a couple Trials weapons in here, specifically looks to be the Trials shotgun, probably, if I had to guess, just kind of the way he's gripping the thing. Trials shotgun, and definitely the armor shown here. So up on the left-hand side, you've got the Warlock, definitely showing kind of the Egyptian Anubis mask, and this is the Destiny 1 Trials armor. Very similar before. The color scheme here seems to be a little green. I don't quite remember it having quite that color scheme. That could easily just be a shader, but the gold, definitely a thing. The gold plated, the eyes for Osiris, those were definitely a thing. Looks to be a sometimes Trials shotgun. There should be a full set of weapons. The biggest thing about Trials is they made to make sure and get the rewards right, because the rewards for a very difficult thing need to be worthwhile and need to be something you want to strive for. So this is the first shot. This one is a shot of typically your PvP matches facing each other in that kind of competitive setting. Now we've got two completely different armor sets. On the right, you've got basically what looks to be the full Trial set, kind of the turquoise undertones, the gold jeweled plated pieces, very specific to Trials. Left-hand side looks different. Now, some of you guys may call this maybe if it's an older set, you might have to remind me. Maybe it's just like the new season of the Worthy Eververse set. I'm not entirely sure. Could be a way to tease that one. But you also notice we have a couple of things. This could be like Perfect Paradox down here. On the left-hand side, what you guys can actually see is what looks to be the... looks like Outbreak Perfected, but it looks like it has a gold Trials ornament on it. So completely different color scheme on that ornament. It looks to be here again on this middle section for the Hunter on the Trial side. You've got what looks to be a shotgun. Again, similar handle in the back. The Warlock next to him could be holding a small Pulse, Auto, Scout. Can't quite tell. Or maybe a Fusion. The way that canister is underneath where the magazine would be. And can't quite get a good view of what the Titan is holding as this thing fades out. Try and go a few frames forward to tell. A little long. Can't really tell quite what he's got. Just kind of have to say this emblem is freaking awesome. I love it. It's really cool. Always crushing it. Art team's amazing. Continuing.
Fight, win, fight again. This is your duty.
So, right here you guys can tell that we've got Saint 14 commentating on the matches in Trials of Osiris. Now, shout out to Paul Tassi. He called this one a long time ago. We kind of heard it in his missions when we went through the story to save Saint, and he's actually been in the tower. He's got the Trials banners hanging, seems very fitting, and as you went through the second mission to basically save him from the little prison cell he was essentially in, he sounded like he was calling out a PvP match. Paul Tassi, shout out to you, man. You called this one, absolutely nailed it. So your voice commentary is definitely going to be coming from Saint, which is cool, because he's got that awesome accent, always sounds really cool. Can't wait to hear what he does. The other piece that you've got going on here is you've actually got the Trials, what looks to be the fusion rifle, from right here. So it is a fusion, looks like to be an arc fusion. Also looks like somebody down here has a sword. But you've got an arc fusion, a hand cannon. And as he fires, you can tell, can't quite tell too much about the gun, but doesn't look like to be the fastest charge time, kind of just probably whatever pretty standard fusion rifle in there, but definitely confirmed a Trials fusion rifle from this little clip as it sits here and repeats over and over.
The best players in an arena, and it's power enabled. The stakes are incredibly high.
It is a legitimate, difficult thing to be good at.
Now, that is one of the biggest things right there that a lot of people, especially on Twitter, the quickest things they commented about were the fact that power was enabled. Now, that is one of those things that some people may like or dislike, and I don't know how that's entirely going to work. Power level currently involves your artifact, which for some could be a cool thing because some people can grind out and get up to, I don't know, power level 1022, who knows? Much higher than I got. Now, we currently know the pinnacles go up to 970. Next season, the pinnacles are going to go up to 980. So we're going to be able to get noticeably higher. But there's one thing. Those who can grind the artifact, those who have the time to grind the artifact, are going to be able to get even higher if that is actually enabled in Trials of Osiris. And that's where a disparity in a very competitive mode may come in. I'm not entirely sure how the balancing would be. Maybe the artifact doesn't boost you, but your armor level does count. So if you grind for pinnacles, then you might have, you know, a 5 to 10 power level advantage. Not big, but a little bit, as every tiny minuscule bit counts when you're in a competitive match. But on the other side, if you're 50 power levels above somebody because you just grinded a monotonous amount of bounties, that doesn't seem like something that's really going to be worthwhile for everyone, and also something not everybody's going to be able to be fair about. So the fact that power level is enabled will be a curious thing, and they might take feedback, see how it goes. But for the time being, that is definitely a big question a lot of people are going to wonder about. So power level, we have to see, could be an issue. The other side of that is power level will be a bigger factor towards the end of a season than it will be in the beginning of a season, because Trials is going to launch on March 13th, basically the same day a raid typically would, 3 days after the season launches. But that weekend of PvP is going to be a real thing, and power level is apparently going to matter. So doing your pinnacles, doing your raids, getting as high as you can, it's going to be a thing in these last 2 weeks. So if you got pinnacles to grind for and anything of that nature, might be a time to get a little bit more of a boost if you can. All right, so we've got 3 new maps coming back, all of them which were from Destiny 1, and very fitting because Destiny 1 had Trials kind of in a good place. A lot of people enjoyed it there, so the maps were also designed over more 3v3 play. Definitely fitting of what's coming back for Trials to kind of get a nice setting, 3v3 maps that they've already built and just put some touches on. Probably in a good place to start, and I think some of these are actually quite a few matches that I know. Ultra sweaty, kind of cool. They brought some good maps back, and they've got more now to cycle through. So the first one is going to be CAULDRON. This one is based on the moon, and the moon is fitting because we do have the moon back in Destiny 2, thanks to Shadowkeep. And you guys can tell it does have more of the red paint scheme on it from Shadowkeep and obviously the Scarlet Keep. So that's probably a different cosmetic look to it, but the look of the map looks to be the same. You've got the interior kind of cross area where everything goes on. You've got the far interior kind of more tunnel lanes inside, and then this outside exterior section where you can definitely cover and definitely get around to different sections of the map through this outside lane. So that's CAULDRON. Second one we're going to be talking about is Exodus Blue. Now, Exodus Blue has a couple cool shots to it. What you guys can see is this section right here shows more of the kind of the mid section. Right to the left of where that shield is actually going on is a very interior point. It's probably where one of the capture points will be. And it's kind of a blown away building with a couple holes in it for like interior points and kind of a crossover section. On the right of this picture right now, you would see that it's kind of a completely enclosed, tight hallway area with a couple different sections where you can kind of traverse the whole side of the map through that hallway. And then over to a separate screenshot, what you're going to see is a bigger open section. There's one of these on each side, if you guys haven't seen this before. And then behind the wall that you're seeing and kind of farther behind that Titan bubble, if you go back around there, there's going to be a complete outside lane, some small outside railing areas, and even like an outer pipe that you can run around. If you're skilled, you can definitely make some flanking maneuvers on this map as well. Final one is going to be Anomaly. Really only one picture I can show, and the best way I can describe this thing is a big circle. Now you've got a couple rings to this circle. Where I'm showing right now is kind of one of the, like what I would literally call the middle ring. It's a set of platforms that kind of circle this open section with this tetrahedron hexagon thing. I don't even know what that is. It's like a those are pentagons because they have 5 sides, and pentagon on some circular sphere thing. That's going to be the middle ring. Those little sections around the big giant sphere thing used to rotate. I don't know if they still wheel, but there's an under level in there, and you can actually kind of shoot across in the sections. And then even behind where the camera sits right now, you're actually going to have an outside ring that circles the entire map. So you're able to go outside, inside, and that middle ring to kind of traverse, get some angles, and put some pressure on people. So all 3 good maps, definitely plenty of memories on each of these as I played them for years. So I definitely approve of the map choices here, kind of digging all of them pretty well. All right, so now we got to talk about rewards. Now, we don't know when it comes to stats, perks, things like that. Weapons, we won't know much about those, but it does look like there are weapons available. Now, again, unless for some reason there is either a pulse rifle that comes from Warmind and it has this look to it. This looks like the Outbreak Perfected in the middle that the Warlock is holding, that's kneeling down. This one looks straight up to be the Outbreak Perfected weapon, just with a skin on it. So I think there's a weapon ornament on that one. Now on the far left, it looks like there's a Trials hand cannon straight up. The jewels on the back of the gun, for sure. Looks like it's got a pretty long barrel. And then on the right, that one looks to be, that's not the shotgun, I don't think. Maybe it is. That might still be the shotgun we keep seeing. Yeah, I think it is, because it's got the stock on the back above the Titan's wrist that you guys can see. Does seem to be a consistent gun that they're showing. But the hand cannon seems to be new here. You've got a couple other weapons on the back, but pretty hard to tell what is going on here. Overall, you guys can get a pretty good shot here from what the armor is going to look like. The Titan is probably the best depiction of what I remember the Trials armor to be. The other two, both the Warlock and the Hunter, the cloth part of the Trials armor, I don't ever remember it being specifically turquoise. Now, again, you could mess with stuff with shaders, and maybe that's what they were going for. But really, the gold, the gray, the black, that's what Trials armor really is. Now, if the cloth is just going to have that teal color to it, maybe that's just the cloth, and the Titan's all, chainmail, because Beast Mode Titan. But the Warlocks, again, you can tell that the Warlock still has one of my favorite helms. The Titan's kind of cool. It's got that bird beak on the top, still somewhat defined. But the Anubis helm for the Warlocks, that thing is just absolutely epic looking. Always like that one. And then, of course, you got the eye for Osiris on the Hunter helm right there, dead center. And the eye is going to be kind of all over this armor. But this is a pretty good shot of the armor so you guys can get a feel of what you're going to be looking like just to get started. Now, the other thing they mentioned is when you go flawless. Now, some of you have never even heard of Trials of Osiris. So you're like, why are you getting all excited about this? What is this? Well, it's a PvP mode. It's based around elimination, which is 3v3, and elimination actually has resurrection. So say you're sticking with your team, which you probably should be doing in this one, by the way, and somebody dies. You're able to resurrect them. There's usually a small timer, but you're able to resurrect them and bring them back into the match because it's based on rounds. So if you can resurrect your teammate, whether it takes you a minute or 5 if you're alive, and usually the rounds won't go that long, but if somebody gets dropped by a quick sniper shot and you can put up a wall and resurrect them, you're able to get them back in the fight. So that's the big key about Trials is based on rounds. And they're also stating that it is going to have the card system before, thanks to a tweet by Luke Smith, which is going to, I'll cover a couple bit more things about that later. But you have a card, and you would always go buy a card. It used to cost like 100 Glimmer. It's like, woohoo. And they just have to have you buy it for something. Glimmer's usually pretty cheap. And basically, the way it worked, you had a punch card. So you were trying to get a total number of wins to finish the card, but you only have so many number of losses, basically full match losses, not rounds, but lost matches, before your card basically is null and void. So the idea behind this would be, it used to be 9 total wins that you would go for. And you would have up to 3 losses that you could lose before your card was kind of done. Now, if you went flawless, that was the key. That would be 9 straight wins without a loss. Now, that is not an easy task to do. And Luke Smith tweeted that the matchmaking is going to be based on 2 things. He states that it's going to be based on connection and the state of your Trials card. Now, by that, it basically means the number of wins that you've got is going to be what determines your matchmaking status. If you're if you're just starting yourself with a fresh card, like at 0, then you're going to get match made with people at a good connection and as little progress into their card as possible, if not 0. If you have 8 wins and you're going for that 9th win, they're going to try and match you up connection based on other people working for that 9th win as well. So you're going to be in ultra sweaty matches towards the top of that card, but the beginning of the card shouldn't be quite as big of a deal. Now, we don't know too much about the mechanics of Trials itself, but what we do know is how Trials used to work. And they said they're trying to bring a lot of things back the way it used to be. So what they had were things called boons. And what they would do is they would be boons you would activate on your card. One of them would count for a free win, so you wouldn't need as many wins. One of them would count for basically a free loss of the card. It would kind of give you a get out of jail free card, so one of your losses would not count against your Trials card. Kind of gives you that one buffer match if, something crazy happened or you got matched up against crazy town teams. Now, when you get to 6, 7, 8, that last match, those are going to be sweaty no matter what. But if you stub your toe in the first match, that's a way to just kind of give you a chance to keep going. We don't know if those are going to be in there. Haven't got the foggiest idea. Obviously, Bungie is going to be releasing some, hopefully, information over the next couple of weeks about this. More over the couple weeks and probably some on that final week. But again, we'll be waiting for details. But if you go full flawless, what they are stating is the armor that you get from the Trials of Osiris event and the Crucible mode is going to have the look to it, but you guys can see it's all glowing. That's why I've left it on screen so long. The glows, whether it be your class item, your gloves, your chest piece, your shoulders, your helm, the glows will only light up if you have gone flawless on that character that week. And again, by flawless is getting however many wins you need to complete a card without a loss registering on that card. Now, again, if there's a boon that gives you a free loss, a get out of jail free on that loss, whatever, but you have to have no losses registered on a card with complete line of wins, however many. We don't know if it's going to be 7, 9, don't know how long the cards are going to be, but it takes flawless. It's not an easy thing to do. This is going to be one of those things, if somebody's walking around the tower and they're glowing, you're going to know that they definitely had to work their butt off to get that thing done. So Trials is definitely going to be a big thing. And the other thing about it is the fact that it's on the weekends. It is a Friday through, probably reset is what they used to do. But it was Friday through Sunday is what it used to be. It used to just be 3 days. It was even shorter than Xur. But they'll probably might do Friday through Monday, so it matches Xur like everything else seems to on the weekend. But it would start on Friday at Daily Reset. And there would probably be one map for the weekend. They would probably have a static map so people get consistent practice on it and things like that. And it would go through the weekend and then turn off at weekly reset on Tuesday and be gone until it comes back, probably when Xur would. So every week, you would have to get your armor flawless again. So every weekly reset, that flawless light up on your armor is going to go away. So you're going to have to earn that on a weekly basis. So it's going to be that glow that you're going to be able to get to show off that you kick some butt that week. You do get it, take some cool pictures, enjoy it. Hopefully we get some good rewards out of it as well. And that's basically it. So I think I talked about most of the things I had thought about. You have the question of power level mattering. You have the rewards. So you've got the armor. Some weapons definitely are going to be in there. Probably a full set of both armor and weapons going to be able to earn quite a few different things in there. And there were a couple things that were clarified by tweets from both DMG, one of the community managers, and then also Luke Smith as well. So what I want to do is pull those up so you guys can actually kind of have those to look at. So once again, to clarify, so it's on March 13th, starts on Friday, so you guys can see on screen. Uses connection-based card state matchmaking. So he states, when you are on the cusp of visiting the new Lighthouse, the one you built with tons of Fractaline and effort, we want you to be facing someone in a similar spot. So if you're on 7 wins, you're going to be facing someone in a similar place. That's kind of his goal. Now, the other thing that a lot of people have worried about is cheating. Cheating, DDoSing, like whatever you can all do, whether it's on console, it's cheating, DDoSing, connection, network switching, whatever. There's a lot of names for all that stuff, and I'm probably even saying half of the wrong ones. And the other one is going to be the fact that you've got the connection being one thing, but on PC, you've got people who have access to even more things. Now, they're going to have their cheating, cheat watching and stuff like that, and bans and things like that, probably going pretty hard. People may be trying to appeal, have their cases. But the idea is the issue with cheating, especially on PC, is it is a free-to-play game. That's where the issue lies. People don't have to invest any money to risk anything going away because all they have to do is just make a new account and do it again. And they can just troll people, mess with them. Not that big of a deal for them, but it's really annoying for most of us, which is definitely an issue. So the free-to-play thing got mentioned by Dylan, DMG, and basically he states that it is going to take some type of quest to actually kind of unlock the mode. Yes, he said, somebody asked Log Power Slave, can we confirm whether trials will be free to play? He says, yes, there will be requirements to unlock the new mode. You can't just make a new account and jump straight in. So there will be a quest involved. It is something you want to make sure you don't have to do a lot. And honestly, as I think somebody even stated on Twitter below that, is Zachary Chaff, SwiftyTO. He stated, he's like, I wouldn't mind if it's a 7-hour quest. And I'm honestly in the same boat. Cheating is one of those things that is definitely going to ruin this or make it kind of really hard to enjoy if it gets to be bad. If you limit somebody to go through a decently lengthy quest, and if you make it kind of out of reach of somebody just creating a new account, it is something that you're going to want to try and keep as safe from the free account cheaters as you can. Free to play games can get abused pretty easily. Doesn't take much. New email address, maybe switch it in IP if you're doing a VP, whatever. There's certain things, but free accounts are not that hard to make, so banning people is definitely going to be something they're going to have to be strict and quick on. And listening to feedback, if people are getting flagged for cheating and stuff in the in-game system, it's definitely something they're going to be harder core watching. But the limitations of some type of quest to activate it, hopefully it's got a few steps, so it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. And also the fact that it's free, but it's not completely instant access will be the thing that makes some of that stuff stop. But there's still going to be plenty of people that try minor things like network switching or lag or whatever they can try and do to win these matches. Because when it comes to PvP, and if the rewards are good, which we do want the rewards to be good, it's something that you can't not probably expect cheating. So they're going to have to just do their best to try and avoid it. We don't have dedicated servers. That's not coming with this one, I can almost promise you. And when it comes to not having dedicated servers, you're still looking at peer-to-peer. And there's only so much you can do. So it's just kind of on the basis of the community. They're going for connections. They're trying to make the connection as good as possible. But outside of that, if you get paired up with somebody and it's not a good match or they're pulling some funky stuff, report them as quick as you can. Hopefully it's not that bad. And that will take a little while. Some people with these accounts, especially in the beginning, pulling some funky stuff to try and go to the Lighthouse quick and early, may have to get reported a lot to get their accounts banned, but we will just have to see how that goes. But that's the two things I've seen, at least on Twitter, that have been addressed already. The way the matchmaking is going to work, and also the fact that it is free, but it is going to have a quest step to it. So that is basically it. We've got a confirmation of trials. We've got the date that it's coming back. And obviously, it's going to be a big deal. There's a lot of people who used to do Trials of Osiris as their thing when it was streaming on the weekends. Hugely competitive PvP mode. Carrying people to the Lighthouse. That's a whole thing. So when it comes to PvP, time to polish up your check out your weapons, check out your armor, check out your gear, check out your builds. All that to get ready for ultra sweaty PvP. But hopefully the rewards make this sweaty PvP worthwhile. If you guys did enjoy the video, hopefully you did. I may rambled a lot, but I tried to cover as much as I can from previous history of the event, what to expect, and kind of breaking down at least just the day's events that went on with the Fractaline, building the tower, and all of that. If you enjoyed it, drop a like below. You guys can find me on Twitch and Twitter when I'm streaming, making videos, covering new content. The new season sounds like there's going to be plenty of stuff to cover. And what I'm leaving on right now is just a tease from Luke Smith. It's just a tease of Season of the Worthy. And what you guys can tell, it looks like a sword with kind of the Warmind, the Ikelos kind of themed weapons. It's got that diamond on it, the Warmind shape. So that may be part of where we're headed this season. Also, back to Mars, a basically Warmind sword is what we're looking at here. So kind of an interesting tease. So lots more to come. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. We're climbing to 50K. The support is amazing. So keep it going. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Lots of content will be on this channel come next season. Thank you guys very much. Find me on Twitch, Twitter. You can support me directly on Patreon. Thank you guys all very much. I will see you soon, and have a great one. Enjoy the next coming weeks.